So this is kind of an off-topic question. Juan's asking, what healthy product can replace my Lanta for soothing, like a heartburn or a GERD? One of the ones I recommend, Juan, if you can check it out at Gluten Free Society, it's a multi-blend called GI Soothe, and you might check that one out. That can, it has a number of different ingredients that are what are known as mucilaginous ingredients, and they can kind of put a coat and soothe the GI tract. So if you're trying to get something instead of Mylanta, that might be an option for you. Lori says, I've heard that alpha-Tocopherol can cause cancer. Is that true? No, it's not true. There's no great research that shows that alpha-Tocopherol or any other vitamin E isomer can contribute to cancer. Now, you should all be aware of something else, though. If you've been with me for any length of time, you know that we've been subjected to the mainstream media's, we'll just say, outright lies and misinformation. If you guys remember, it was just a few months ago that the New York Post wrote a piece on me saying I was recommending lethal doses of vitamins. And it was really quite a laughable article, and we had to threaten to sue them in order to get them to make the changes. But regardless of that, we'll just call it an assault on nutrition. And one of those assaults is to produce studies designed to mislead the general public. I'm going to give you an example because I almost myself got rung into one of these. It was years ago. I'm in Texas, so there's a University of Texas in Galveston, which is a training facility for intern doctors. They came to me and wanted to meet with me because they wanted to use my CoQ10 formulation in one of their studies. And so we had a meeting, and they presented the study. They were doing the study. Again, they were trying to use me for my CoQ10, basically. But they presented me with the study and how they were going to lay out the parameter. And I read the study parameters, and I looked up and asked them, I said, why did you design this study to fail? This is going to be a really misleading trial, and it's not going to really serve anybody who could benefit, because they're going to learn that they think CoQ10 is ineffective. And the reason why is that they designed the study to mislead the public. They designed it on purpose to fail. In this particular instance, for me, they designed the study with such a low dose of CoQ10 that we knew it wouldn't have an outcome, because prior studies had already been done saying that for congestive heart failure patients, if you're going to try to use CoQ10 to improve their outcomes and their ejection fraction, then you've got to have a certain level of CoQ10. Well, they were giving like a tenth of that level necessary. And so when I challenged them, I challenged the doctors on why they designed the study to fail, their faces turned beet red, and they just tried to backpedal. I'm like, look, I'm not going to have or donate any of my products to a study that's designed to mislead the public that something natural might not work very effectively. This happens all the time in the industry. You have to understand what you're up against. You're up against big propaganda and big information. And so like when you read a study, when you read kind of some of these on the internet articles about vitamin E and the potential for cancer, these studies are very poorly done. They're very misleading, and there's no evidence that vitamin E or alpha-Tocopherol will actually contribute to or lead to the formation of cancer. There is, on the other hand, tons of research showing that the anti-cancer effects of alpha-Tocopherol, remember, is one of the most powerful fat-protecting antioxidants. There are a number of studies that show cancer cell lines can't survive vitamin E. So we know that again, that vitamin E has potential for being an anti-cancer agent. But again, what a lot of these studies are designed to do is mislead you. And oftentimes they mislead you to making you think that the supplement actually causes the very same disease that it might be beneficial for. So just be careful of what you read, because a lot of times these studies are designed to fail. So Tamara's asking about air hunger related to a vitamin E deficiency. So yeah, shortness of breath, air hunger, where you're trying to get air and you just feel like you can't get enough. Any anemia can cause that, including a vitamin E deficiency, hemolytic anemia. So yes, we are referring to that. Okay, let's see. I like that. Liz commented, the caps at the end of your shoelaces are called aglets. I didn't know that. Thanks for teaching me today, Liz. Do I recommend gamma vitamin E for those that are okay for total vitamin E but low in gamma vitamin E? Seems like gamma is often low. I recommend a full spectrum, Bonnie. And the reason why is if you had your vitamin E's checked, your gamma and your alpha-Tocopherol, was most likely checked in your serum. And that's not a super accurate way to get a reading on your vitamin E levels. So I would actually recommend a mixed tocopherol formulation. I can put one up, one of the better quality, definitely a gluten-free version I'll put that up in the feed for you guys. It's called Ultra E, but it's a mixture of the tocopherols. Is there a vitamin E supplement available that does not contain sunflower or soy as the source? Yeah, I've come across a number of them. You'd have to look at sunflower is a very common source, and I would say I wouldn't worry so much about sunflower. It's the soy that I really get concerned with, mostly not because it's from soy, but because soy oftentimes is grown genetically modified, so you have the potential for pesticide residue being in the product. But you have to understand when they're taking it from the oil, they're extracting it. And as long as it's a cold extraction process that preserves the integrity of the vitamin E and that they're preserving it usually it needs to be preserved in a gel cap because that gel protects it from the air and the light. Now, then even if it's a soy-based product, unless you're allergic to soy, it still should be okay, provided it's produced from an organic soy. That's where it's going to be, in my opinion, more important. Tiffany asking, would a symptom of vitamin E deficiency be thin skin? So not so much thin skin, but bleeding very easily is definitely you might, if that's what's happening to your father, I would think more protein. As we get older, protein malnourishment, protein deficiency, stomach acid loss tends to lead to problems with the skin and the collagen that help form the robustness of skin, more than I would think vitamin E deficiency as being a culprit in that. Let's see here. What do you need if your spleen has been removed? That's kind of a unique question. That's probably a bigger topic than what we got time to cover in the rest of our Q&A tonight. So Todd says, making a recommendation about liposomal vitamin C. I'd be real cautious about liposomal vitamin C. Most of those are corn derivative, and if you're trying to follow the no grain, no pain plan, you might run into a problem with that. I heard vitamin E acetate in high doses can be harmful to the immune system. Is it so? No, not necessarily. And you have to define high doses, because again, what I'm giving you here, what I gave you here a minute ago, up to 800 units is pretty, it's pretty safe. It's a pretty safe range where you don't have to worry about any kind of damage. Now, there's a law, Marie, in that anything given in high enough doses can actually become toxic, and that includes nutrients. But define what you mean by high doses, and we could maybe get you a better answer. So Carlene wants to know, can I recommend a topical vitamin E? I would. So if I'm recommending a topical, I actually recommend that you take the gel cap and you break it open, or you put a pin in it, and then you squeeze the vitamin E out of it onto the skin directly. And the reason why I say that is because when you buy those lotions, the vitamin E inside those lotions is already being exposed to air and light and other things. And so that, again, that gel cap that protects it from photooxidation and oxidation from air. And so you want to have it protected if you're going to use it on the skin as an antioxidant. So break open the capsule itself and apply it directly to the skin. How much vitamin E is optimal taken as this? I think I answered that one already. Let's see. Would the eye damage include the eyes going to the right and freezing there for 15 to 20 seconds? No, if you've got eye damage like that, that sounds more like you got a potential problem with the relay the nerve that feeds the muscles of your eyes. And so, I mean, technically, I guess it could be a neuropathy, but I've seen that type of problem, Rosie, more associated with B vitamin deficiencies. So I would, just with my experience, I would tend to suspect B vitamin deficit over a vitamin E creating that type of problem. So Virginia says there's a specific lab to check for vitamin deficiency. Ask your doctor to check intracellularly. So it's called intracellular analysis is the way that you want to have that investigated. So serum levels can change from day to day. If your last meal was high in vitamin E, but your last 5 months of meals wasn't, you can get a false normal on a serum blood test, and that's where they can be tricky. So intracellular is a much, much better effective way at measuring it. Let's see here. What about gabapentin? I had seizure-like episodes after coming off it a few months ago. So Kristen, I'm not sure what your question is. Could gabapentin create a seizure-like episode coming off of it? Yeah, when you're coming off of a drug that manipulates your biochemistry of the way your nerves communicate, that's a possibility. Talk to your prescribing doc. But gabapentin is not something that we know of, at least at this point, that causes a vitamin E deficiency. Marie asks, can vitamin E help anxiety? There are some studies that show that it can. There's actually some research that shows that vitamin E can be for females, a hormone modulator, so particularly with estrogen and progesterone. So there's evidence that states that there's a possibility that it might be helpful or beneficial. But I can just simply say, in my experience, it's more common, just like with the eye issue earlier, it's more common for B vitamins to play a role in anxiety, B vitamin deficiency rather. Becky's asking if natural blood thinner like vitamin E is good for antiphospholipid syndrome. I would ask your doctor, again, get with your doc on that, kind of that specific types of questions like that. I can't, it's hard because I don't know who you are. I don't know your history. It's hard for me to really just say, yeah, everybody with antiphospholipid syndrome needs to take vitamin E, because I don't think we have any research that would really support that. But again, if you ask your doctor about checking you, and I would ask your doctor while you're at it, if we're talking about blood thickening because of antiphospholipid syndrome being an inflammatory issue, have them measure, your full spectrum of vitamins and minerals, because magnesium is a natural blood thinner too, and you might be low in that. And so there might be a couple of really good natural hits for you that you're deficient in that might help you with the symptoms of that condition. Okay, so Virginia said, Doc, because you brought up the supplement, how much CoQ10 should you take if you've had surgery? Is 100 milligrams a day enough? No, not if you're talking post-surgical recovery. You really want to err around 300 to 500 milligrams a day, for probably at least a good 6 weeks after the fact. If you're trying to recover and you're trying to support your body's ability to recover using a meaningful quantity. Definitely want to hit that 300 to 500 milligram a day mark. 100's not going to be enough to cut it. Don's asking, can you take vitamin E for neuropathy symptoms? You can, whether or not it will correct them is, that's where the proverbial tire hits the pavement. If vitamin E deficiency is causing neuropathy symptoms, and taking vitamin E for it would be an excellent idea. This goes back to where I would recommend that you folks get tested, get with your docs and ask them to test you. Okay, let's see. Can vitamin E support endometriosis? If the vitamin, yeah, it can. But again, it goes back to whether or not it's like, again, if we take 1,000 women with endometriosis and we give them all vitamin E at kind of therapeutic doses, we're not going to see that they all respond favorably. Not that we're going to see them respond negatively, but the question is, can vitamin E help with it? For some, it can. And that just depends really, at least in my experience, on whether or not they have a deficiency in the first place. So again, a lot of people are prone to taking supplements because they read something somewhere, and it sounds like it would be a good idea for them to do it. And it's certainly safe to do. You can take nutrition, vitamins, minerals, including vitamin E, because there's not really much of a toxicity profile unless you're just taking the whole bottle on a regular basis or taking half a bottle on a regular basis. But whether or not it's going to help you, again, it's where the tire hits the pavement. That's the proverbial proof is in the pudding, as they say. Let's see. Rachel saying CoQ10, I'm told, cannot be used by cancer patients. I don't know who told you that, but it was somebody who didn't know much about biochemistry of CoQ10 and cancer. And if it was an oncologist, they probably told you that because oncologists are going to tell you to never take any antioxidants while you're getting chemo or radiation. They're notorious for saying that any antioxidant is going to interfere with the chemo. And there's no real research that supports them saying that. That's really, in my opinion, we'll just say it's irresponsible to say that without having the data to back it up, especially in somebody with cancer who we know has probably a very real issue with their antioxidants, and it's probably one of the reasons why they went on to develop the cancer was because they didn't have adequate antioxidant protection. So to tell you not to take an antioxidant over the fact that they're going to poison you and they don't want the healthy thing to interfere with the thing that's not healthy, again, it just never made sense to me. Any other vitamins that should compete with vitamin E absorption? Mainly vitamin K. Vitamin E and vitamin K have kind of an effect with each other. Now, that doesn't mean if you take vitamin E that you have to take vitamin K. Generally, if you're pretty well nourished and you have a vitamin E or vitamin K deficiency, you can take extra of whatever you're deficient in and not necessarily create a major imbalance. Where people get in trouble is they mega dose things for long periods of time. Again, that's where you have to worry about some of those nutrient interactions. So follow up to Virginia's question about CoQ10. The doctor did his heart surgery, told him to take 100 milligrams. That was a number of years ago. Is it too late to up it? No, it's never too late to up it, but it may not be helpful at this point. If we're talking about a surgery that was done years ago, and we're talking about getting in extra CoQ10 to support the recovery process and the trauma that was induced as a result of that surgery. Now, he might benefit from CoQ10 for other reasons. You might, in essence, if he had a heart surgery, it's probably maybe because he had a heart issue, and maybe that heart issue is related to CoQ10 deficiency. CoQ10 deficiency can cause congestive heart failure. It can cause high blood pressure, and it's also an antioxidant that protects and preserves the vascular tree. So it might have other additional benefits for them beyond that 100 milligrams. But in my experience, people with cardiovascular disease, no less than 200 milligrams is going to be super therapeutically effective. And it also depends on the type that he's taking, because you really want to make sure it's a pure free-form ubiquinol, and not your traditional powdered CoQ10. PJ wants to know, are there general guidelines about how long to take specific individual supplements versus taking multivitamins? Not really. There's nothing. You can read all kinds of generalized information online, but again, generalized information is usually a conglomeration of different people's opinions, and whether or not their opinions are valid that's the issue that remains to be seen. I always like to look at it as it's biochemically individual. Each person supplementing is unique to them, and we shouldn't try to generalize for everybody. And I think that's where guidelines really have gotten a lot of our country in trouble nutritionally. You look at the Food Guide Pyramid as a general broad spectrum nutritional recommendation, and it includes sugar and hydrogenated fat on it, and that to me is a travesty. Is vitamin E recommended to be avoided for cancer therapy with tamoxifen? Actually, I've seen some research with vitamin E with tamoxifen being more effective. So I think it would be a conversation worth having with your cancer doctor. But I've seen research that actually shows vitamin E being helpful with tamoxifen. Okay. Looks like we are on. We're at the time limit here, so questions are they're not stopping. So guys, if you've got additional questions, you want to see me cover additional topics, look, send me a message. Shoot an email over to glutenology@gmail.com. And also, if you're new to the show, make sure you come visit me and sign up for our newsletter over at glutenfreesociety.org. Look, we've got the largest gluten-free newsletter in the world. And sign up for it. I'll send you a bunch of free, wonderful information on how you can navigate no grain, no pain, the gluten-free diet, as well as information about nutrition and how nutrition can support you in your endeavors. Look, I want you to do me a favor now. I did you a favor. I have these shows for you every Monday night. Do me a favor and help me get this information out to more people. You guys know we're being shadow banned, right? We're actually being we've been censored. We've been quieted. So the more people that you can share this information with, the more people we can help together. So remember, share with friends and family who might need this information and help save a life today. Remember, our goal is to save 100 million lives. So help me on that endeavor. I'll help you and you help me, and we'll all win together. So I wish you an excellent week and a healthy week. We'll see you next Monday night for another episode of Pick Dr. Osborne's Brain. Take care. Hey, if you've got a functional medicine or health question that you'd like me to answer for you, make sure you send me an email, glutenology@gmail.com, and we'll do our best to create a video answer just for you. Have a great day.